well documented that I lack even a tertiary interest in the Mass Effect series, since the release and subsequent crushing disappointment I experienced at the disproportionately small carny hands of Mass Effect 2. That said, the game was a commercial it was a resounding financial and critical success for the company. A success that at the time I even expressly stated would come with a very real price for the fans of this series. Many of even my most devoted fans doubted that would be the case at the time, as shortly after the game's faults became more apparent, Casey Hudson kicked up the burn throttle on the platitude dispenser permanently grafted in place of what was once a human mouth. "There'll be added RPG elements," he assured us. "We haven't forgotten the success of the first game," he shrieked. Well, now that BioWare has pinched out the demo for Mass Effect 3, I feel I'd find a simple "I told you so" a bit hollow. Allow me to extrapolate on what is wrong with this demo, what implications this demo has for the proper retail release of the game, and how Mass Effect 2, in all its undeserved Game of the Year-y goodness, laid the groundwork for the lobotomized frat boy fondling we're about to be subjected to. The transition from KOTOR with a cover system to Gears of War with experience points is at last complete, so allow me to sift through the ashes and discern the whys and wherefores. I mean, first off, the grievances, and they are numerous. What's wrong with the demo, you ask? Oh, not much. Binding the cover, sprint, and tactical roll functions to the same goddamn button wasn't an oversight to rival the door-locking mechanism of the USS Challenger or anything. Removing the entire bypass and hacking minigame, thereby turning the mere act of opening a fucking door into a tiresome exercise that features wildly emergent gameplay, such as push a button and wait 5 minutes for the door to open. Ah! And you remember how I derided Mass Effect 2 for adding ammo and calling them heatsink clips to cover up for the cataclysmic downgrade that just made to the overall gunplay? Yeah. Remember how every fifth comment on that review was something along the lines of, "But they explain it in the Galactic Codex. They are heatsink clips. It's not ammo." Don't those same vacillating simps have egg on their face now that it's right there? It's on the screen, in black and white on the heads-up display. The word ammo, and forcibly performing breast augmentation surgery on the entire female cast and writing them grotesquely out of character. That isn't a hindrance to any enjoyment I might have accrued from playing the previous two titles again. No, not a butt-fucking chance. Admiral Anderson being written as Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon, a one-hit melee kill with more potential for abuse than a Vatican summer camp, still no basic crouch function despite the fact that there's an entire class devoted to the singular use of sniper rifles. And while we're on the subject of classes, oh, what about the little fact that every single class feels like playing as a soldier? And this is all just off the top of my head. I have them written down here on my vlog outline, hell, so I don't forget them. There's at least a dozen more that, for expedience's sake, I'll defer to itemize. And the groundwork for this pixelated lobotomy was quite clearly laid in Mass Effect 2. One of the reasons I resented that game so vociferously was because it was like the game didn't want to be itself. It couldn't be happy melding RPG and shooter. It just wanted to be a shooter, plain and simple. And here's a simple, mortal truth. Branching dialogue or not, and for the record, the dialogue choices in Mass Effect 3's demo make all the substantive difference of a smiley or a frowny face reaction to the ceaseless barrage of linearity. The simple fact is that if you're trying to be a third-person shooter, guess what? Gears of War is much better at it than you are, which leaves what? Sex scenes? Ugly player models in their underwear awkwardly dry-humping the amorous mannequins? Like, what the fuck? Bingo Night at the Convalescent Home is more titillating, and the atrocious and out-of-character writing ensures said scenes will have all the emotional impact of a Looney Tunes skit. If you buy this identity crisis in a box, you aren't part of the problem. You are the problem. You may say to yourself, well, I'd like to see how the story ends, but here's the thing. It isn't even being written by the same guy. None of the characters talk, act, and now even look the same as they did in the first or even the second game. So who gives a fuck how their arbitrary story reaches its ultimate conclusion? In the immortal words of the hardcore band by the name of Zayo, burn it down and walk away. I'm Razor Fist God fucking Speed.